Welcome back to Tina Turtle. We have learned several basic commands, how to write loops for repeated commands, and how to set parametric variables. In this video, we learn how to write and use functions. Let's start with the for loop we have been using to create polygons, with 20 for the edge length, 4 for the number of sides, and 90 for our turn angle. This, of course, creates a square. With parametric variables, we learned how to set these parameters ahead of the loop so that they are easy to define without disturbing the code within the loop. Let's add those lines and replace the numbers with variables to refresh our memory. So we'll do n equals 4, e equals 20, and then change 90 to 360 divided by n. Remember that the angle is defined as 360 divided by the number of sides. What if we want to use the for loop more than once in a program? We may want to draw several polygons. Instead of writing the for loop for the polygon each time, we can define it as a function. Let's name our function polygon. We start by writing the command line. Def means define. Notice that our variables are now in parentheses and separated by commas. We have a colon at the end of the line, just like the for loop. We define functions before the main program, so we have to move our for loop out of the main program and into the defined function. We indent the for loop 2 spaces to show that it is the body of the function. Let's go through each argument. T means any turtle, so this function will work with any turtle. Because we are defining our function for t, we also need to change Tina to t in our for loop. N is the parametric variable that defines the number of edges, and e is the length of one edge. We have now defined the function polygon. However, polygon will not run unless we call it in the main program and assign values to the variables. We insert the line after the parametric variables: polygon, Tina, n, e. Let's step through the program to see how it calls the function. Notice how the main program jumps to the polygon function when it is called. You can call the function as many times as you need to within the main program. Say we want to draw 2 polygons. To reposition Tina for the second polygon, we will insert tina.pu, tina.goTo3030, tina.pd, tina.angle0, then repeat the call for polygon. Now we have 2 squares, with the second square starting at 30, 30. We can assign values to the variables within the call command, instead of writing them out as separate lines. This is useful if we need to change the values each time the function is called. Let's make our first polygon a square and the second one a circle. Programmers always look for ways to clean up the code. It took 4 lines to move Tina and reset her angle. Let's define a second function for those 4 lines. Remember to change Tina to t and use variables for the parameters. Edit the main program by calling the function move, assigning the values we used before. Finally, let's insert comment lines. Remember, comment lines help you find parts of the program more easily. In this case, it makes sense to put a comment line before each defined function and one before the main program. Add clarifying information to your comments, such as the purpose of each variable. First, we'll write a comment for the polygon function, and we'll say define function polygon to create a regular polygon for any turtle t, where n equals the number of edges and e equals the length of one edge. For the move function, we'll type define function move to move any turtle t to a specific x and y location, and set the starting angle before drawing the next shape. Finally, we'll add a comment to describe the main program. The main program defines Tina, then we call the function polygon to draw a polygon, and then the function move to move Tina and set her starting angle. Then display the results. As a programmer, you may write programs that are hundreds or thousands of lines long. Informative comment lines really help when you are working with pages and pages of code. Let's review what we have learned about functions. Functions are defined first, then called within the main program. A function is defined using def, followed by the function name, the arguments, which are the variables in parentheses separated by commas, and a colon. The body of the function is indented 2 spaces, just like a for loop. To call the function in the main program, we write the function name, followed by the values we want for each variable in parentheses. Or we can assign values to the variables before we call the function. Insert comments to inform yourself and anyone else who is using your program. It is good practice to write a comment before the function, explaining what it does, and before the main program, so it is easy to see where it starts. Use the code we created to build a complex design. You can draw several regular polygons in different positions simply by calling the functions and assigning values to the variables. If you come up with a cool design, be sure to submit it to NCLab's gallery. Keep practicing and look for code that can be rewritten as a function. It will make your life easier.